Hello, 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 everybody. Everybody, welcome, welcome, welcome.
You're now watching the captains.
Welcome to episode number 36 of the Captain's Lounge. Damn, you got niggas in your living room, huh?
Yeah, I do. Full house. Full house. Lots of prizes
Uh,
today.
Funny. What's up, streamer? Welcome, 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 everybody here. Thank y'all for showing up and showing out. Y'all let me know how everything sounds. Last time there was an echo the first like 15 minutes of the stream and nobody told me until like halfway through. So I tried to make sure I fixed that this time around. But for everybody that is new to the Captain's Lounge, again, this is where we congregate to talk about dope stuff, pop topics, nerd topics, all that good stuff. And today we have a loaded docket. We have a loaded docket. We're going to be covering everything from the Kingsman drama, as you guys see on the thumbnail, to Mr. Kanye West trying to, get in the good graces of society again. It's going to be a good. It's going to be a good show. But obviously, we're going to start what's on the thumbnail because I don't want everybody to think we clickbaited them if they get into this thing early. We are going to start with the Kingsman 265 drama and a lot of the issues that came about from the 40K Marvel Rivals tournament that went on recently. This is something that I low-key wish like happened early last week because literally I feel like all the course of the internet went on like in between this show and when it happened. And I've just been waiting. Every day I was waiting to get to the show. More and more shit came out about it. So kind of glad, honestly. We are, for anybody that doesn't know, we'll start there. Let's start with an outline of it. This tournament essentially was a creator tournament that was involving a bunch of different like bigger name streamers and creators within the Marvel Rivals community, and they pretty much had like a draft where they took creators that were there and built out their individual teams and competed. Kingsman was placed upon a team with, I think Zaza is the leader's name, because there are three main characters, I guess, in this whole spat. It's Kingsman, Zaza, and I think CC is her friend or some other streamer that's associated on the team. Essentially, they're going through scrimmages, kind of practicing as a team. And as they're practicing going through the team, for people that are familiar with Rivals, understand compositions of the lineup is very important in how you win a game. We know because me and Jordan have been like sweating our asses off in Rivals the past like couple months here. So I definitely felt when I saw the frustration and watching Kingsman realize, oh, you're going to run Black Widow and we're getting shit stomped, and that comp with her and this team is not going to work because we know how it's going to work. We've been there before. So that's essentially what happened. They went into scrimmages. They won some, they lost some, but they went on this like bad losing streak. And he was trying to be insistent on letting people know, like, hey, these are the comps we can run to win this thing. And for people that aren't aware, Kingsman is like ranked number one Magic in the world right now, I believe, or he's like top 50 at bare minimum. He's up there. He's a really fucking good Magic
Yeah,
player.
he's top in the world, I think. A PC at least.
If you watch his fucking, and I think he plays on controller on PC. It's crazy. Like he plays on a gaming laptop with a controller. And if you guys watch the streams or the VOD that he put up, like showcasing all the things, because if you want to see what happened, literally you can go watch his VOD on his YouTube channel. He like has the whole thing up there where you see the entire interaction from beginning to end. But he has like some crazy fucking highlights with Magic. But essentially, they go through this little stint here. There's a lot of frustration going on, and it ends with emotions being high. Zaza or CC, I can't remember which one in particular. One of the two young ladies ends up calling him a bitch to a certain extent. Uh, Freebird is kind of being disrespectful to him and letting him know, like, no, she's gonna play Widow. I'm gonna play Widow. I don't give a fuck what you say. I don't care what your advice is. I don't care how good you may be at the game. I'm playing Widow. We're here for the vibes. Kingsman then is kind of pleading and begging, letting them know, like, hey, I could really use this money because keep in mind, everybody that is participating in this tournament, they're participating for a $40,000. Well, I think the $40,000 is distributed over like the first three winners, the first three teams. Because even if you're losing, like if you're third or fourth, I believe you get something. So it's like $40,000 dispersed between all the different teams. So the winning team, though, the winning team is getting $3,000 a piece. Kingsman is letting them know, like, hey, this $3,000 could really help me in getting to where I want to be as far as a college student because I'm kind of broke. And Zaza continues to let him know, we are here for the vibes, my nigga. We are here for vibes. We don't give a fuck about winning. And following that, there's a lot of muting of the mics and people talking to their own streams, a lot of drama going on. But the night essentially ends with Kingsman going to play comp by himself in his own stream. And then Zaza, CC, and I believe one other person on the team all like jump into this random call at the end, letting everybody know, like, yeah, we got a dip, but we have this call I got to take real quick. That call ends up being a call to the owner or the runner, or at least the manager at bare minimum of the tournament, Basim. And that ends up with that, like within like 15 to 20 minutes of that call happening, Kingsman gets a notification that he's being removed and kicked from the tournament. And again, all this drama goes on because they essentially kick him without giving him any kind of warning. They don't really consult with him. They don't really give him any kind of like critique on, you know, how you could be better before we just kick you off of here. They just get all that stuff and they kick him. A lot of drama then spirals from that, because somehow this gets on the internet. I can't remember if the first like bomb that dropped was Kingsman posting his VOD on everything, or somebody posting a real, but it hits the internet really hard, and we end up seeing the VOD itself and seeing everything that transpired. A lot of people are up in arms, obviously, as you know, most people would be. And it ends up with a lot more drama coming out because we find out that Zaza's boyfriend was getting all the clips during the stream and was sending clips to the management team of the tournament to get him kicked. Now, before we find that out though, well, I think after we find that out, Kingsman is like, you know what? Y'all trying to pay me to be a bad guy. You're fucking with me. You're fucking with my money. I'm going to go scorched earth. And he drops what a lot of creators are dubbing to be the CC files. So let's react to what the CC files are really quickly, because this is fucking hilarious.
Yo! So if you haven't been paying attention, Kingsman went ahead and dropped the CC files, which was pretty much a Google Doc with their DMs, as well as a screenshot of somebody sending a message to Kaplunk, which was, I think, Zaza's boyfriend. By the way, he came out and made like this whole Google Doc and tried to make Kingsman look bad. But this person basically told him to go on an alt, clip whatever they could to get him kicked off the team and replaced because he was playing for money and he wasn't playing for the vibes, right? And in the DMs, CC is pretty much blaming him for the backlash that she's been receiving, saying that that 1 hour and 20-minute video, which is just the VOD re-uploaded, is out of context and that he's the reason why she's getting harassed when he distinctly told everybody not to send them any type of hate. She tried to guilt trip him into taking the video down. He pretty much just stands on everything that he said, basically saying that he wasn't going to take down the video and that she got a boss call from Basm, the tournament organizer, where she greenlit him to get kicked off the team. In these DMs, she's just being nasty. She's saying you're an a-hole for harassing Zaza for a whole hour. He was not harassing her. Was he being firm? Yes, because he was trying to win. And everything that he said that was going to happen happened in the tournament. And guess what? They ended up coming in last. This is the funniest part right here. Hello? Do you have any response? Just like you want 40,000? I want some peace of mind for the next time I go live. Well, he didn't get the 40,000. He's not the reason why you're not getting peace of mind. That's a you problem. If the shoe were on the other foot and Kingsman were getting all this backlash, they wouldn't come to his defense. They would let him get hate. They're over here putting out these long-winded fake apologies, which is basically just damage control. She got dropped by Infinity Mice because of this entire situation, so she's probably panicking behind the scenes. He goes on to say, she then removed me from the Discord server with Rivals creators all over TikTok where we chat, and apparently she was the owner, LMAO. This situation just highlights the Marvel Rivals community to the core, because if you're 0-5 with 200 ping, you should be listening. There's nothing that you can say in this situation, even if you had one good game. Renato, let me know your thoughts.
Shout out to DZ Hype Talks, TikTok creator that was the one that did that video. So y'all go show him some love. But again, Kingsman goes scorched earth, puts out all that stuff. Funny things that I saw that kind of led up into that was other creators that were looking at, because there's an initial document, a Google Doc, that Zaza's boyfriend Kaplunk had like put out there. And the funny shit about it is, like, there's one video I saw, like, as the creators like kind of reacting to it and reading it, you actively see this nigga editing the document live, so she can see this nigga editing the Google Doc. So it's just a lot of like shady stuff, a lot of like trying to push a narrative, change a narrative around Zaza and CC, because obviously their reputations and their creator statuses are taking a hit. Sponsorships are being lost. They're getting harassed on streams going forward, and it's just not a good look for them as a whole. And honestly, her boyfriend may have just like nuked her career, because apparently from what she said is that, and what he said is that she told him not to do anything and to stay out of the drama and not to post anything, but he then went behind her back and sent those clips to Basim's company. But as you saw from those Google Docs that Kingsman sent, it looked like it was a fucking inside job, and they were trying to get him out of there from the jump. So it was, again, a lot of drama, a lot of shady shit going around. But there is a conversation that I want to have centralized around this is honestly the toxicity around not even just rivals, but gaming as a whole. And it's something that Jay, me and you have talked about a lot when we're playing rivals in regards to a lot of the toxicity we've seen. Because for people that don't know, we usually run trios. It's usually me, Jordan, our homeboy Chris, and we'll just run trios and try to grind it out to our goal right now is like Grandmaster. But we'll go as hard as we can, but we'll be derailed because we'll grit into lobbies where people will like have their main character banned and then throw the entire game, or they'll insta lock one character, be having a trash game, and then blame you for not doing something else. Before we get into all that stuff, what's your initial thoughts, reactions, everything? 'Cause I know there's a lot of information I kind of just gave. I don't know how much of it you were like informed on.
Yeah, yeah. I just want to talk about the scale of how much this blew up. Like I remember when Kingsman dropped his video, and I remember seeing it on my YouTube suggestions or whatnot, and I was like, okay, sure, I might get to it on my like watch later page. But this blew up so much that not only the devs themselves recognized it and gave him units for all the frustrations that he went through. Mind you, Kingsman was very classy about it. I would even argue the CC files wasn't even him doing anything scorched earth. It was just literally him just showing the receipts. But like, it got to a point where I think the Atlanta Hawks basketball page referenced Kingsman. That's how big this got. Blaze voice actor like mentioned it. It was just like, oh, niggas always got an ice skateboard. Like it's like everybody mentioned this, so it just blew my mind why this blew up. But I think this blew up because at its core, what we're seeing here is this, and we're going to talk about the gaming aspect of it, but the disparity between this sort of quick play casual versus like competitive. Like I will say something that's a very hot take here. I don't think Zaza and CC's wrong about like just wanting to play for the vibes. The problem is you want to play for the vibes in the fucking competitive tournament. Why would you choose to do that here? It's like if you wanted to play for the vibes, go play at quick play. You decide to specifically sign up for a tournament that's requiring you to play at the top of your level for money, and then you're on top of that, like now just deciding, oh, like you're mad that like I want to play Black Widow. Well, I just want to play Black Widow. You know what? I say that type of stuff in quick play. Well, I just want to play Loki. It doesn't matter because like I just really want to play Loki. That's fine when there's nothing on the line. So that's the thing that really blows me. I think that's what everybody's really grabbing on is this idea of you know what level you had to get to, and you decide not to meet the moment, and now you're blaming everybody else, including Kingsman, which, mind you, even in that same video, she called Kingsman a meta slave for sticking to the meta instead of just playing what she wanted to play, like Black Widow. This nigga plays Magic, and as a person who plays Magic, Magic is mid. So if you're good with Magic, that just means like you're good. So he's not even doing the meta thing. So all this is just like, oh, this is just, it's frustrating, and there's so much layering to this that we can dive into more. But that's just my initial thought.
Also, Liv lets us know he shaved. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's a story in itself. I wasn't supposed to shave. I wasn't meant to shave. That was an accident, so I had to cut it clean. But yeah, I'm gonna let it grow out again. I chose the wrong time. It's 16 degrees outside to shave. So
you're funny. But yeah, to your point about the scale, this got like into like mainstream news. People that I have never seen talk about gaming, let alone anything to do with Marvel Rivals, were talking about this story. I saw this shit going to every corner of the internet ever, and I think it has nothing to do with the factor of it's Marvel Rivals drama or even what the thing was. We know it has something to do with this.
Poppy Capone is using my video as proof of saying he was right about women not being allowed in gaming. Now let's calm down a minute. Don't be rash. Within a millisecond of me getting the mention, I immediately replied to the video. But he started deleting my comments. He deleted it twice. Listen, man, I don't know if you're trying to come back like some franchise villain Springtrap type shit, but that tournament in no way, shape, or form does not justify you saying this.
Listen, all I'm saying is replace Zaza with a male Black Widow player. Replace CC with the male support player. All I'm saying is it would not have gone down this way.
Hating on women in general is just absolute chud behavior, and do not use my video to go into another streamer's chat or go into Zaza or CC or anybody involved with the situation's chat and start harassing them. I've said this before, I'm gonna say it again however many times I need to. I don't even understand how you can make a video of somebody about them, ping them, and then delete their comments. It literally makes no sense. At the end of the day, let's just move on. Tournament is over. It's unfortunate that my team lost. I'm sorry to hear that, but yeah, just be a good person, guys, and don't harass anybody.
Shout out Kingsman. That was Kingsman. People had never like knew what he sounded like. But yeah, that was the main crux of why I think this really blew up to how it blew up. It again essentially turned into a battle of the sexes thing again, in which people were taking this as an opportunity to really go at two women really fucking hard. Because at the end of the day, this interaction was the one that we it's a common thing, especially on Rivals, for people to be toxic about playing a certain player, throw in the game. Again, horrible, but hell, even in other games, I think I grew up playing Call of Duty at one point. This shit is nothing new. There are no slurs thrown around, but like the most that happened in this particular tournament was some light name calling, and we're locking in on this. Granted, they got kicked out of the tournament, so that was a whole nother level of like assholery and bitchness. But people took this as a chance to get on women as a whole in gaming, and that leads to a conversation I kind of want to have in regards to, do women have a safe space in gaming as a whole? Because to your point, we also talk about how early on in Rivals, that whole discussion around the supports versus everybody else, and it was kind of funny how usually you see women usually take on a support role. I'm curious as to what that is, like psychologically, what it is, but I see that a lot. A lot of my homegirls that I know just usually are support mains. Now that's not the only thing they play, but for the most part, that's what's mostly attributed to women. So because people were going at support so hard, it felt like a everybody versus women type of conversation, and this is just something that you see all the time within gaming. And I'd just be curious to know, like, what are your thoughts on that? Like, do you feel like women have a safe space in gaming?
That's a loaded question. I do want to start. That's a loaded question. I want to start by saying I ain't gonna be able to fully answer this because I'm not a woman. All I can do is just listen to what other women has to say regarding this. But from what I have seen, I think as long as video games continue to be a very male-centric thing in terms of there's just more men in the space, and I think some spaces do a better job than some to like create a space for women. But for the most part, specifically with Rivals itself, I think it's a horrible start for women. Can you know why? Because this is where I can relate it back to us. This is a horrible spot for us. I can't tell you how many times, Charlie, we were in a quick match or we were in a game and we were playing bad. We were called monkey or N-word, and it kind of blurred out the rest of it. Like, so it's always interesting when we're talking about the gender wars. I'm just like, sexism, racism, they all go hand in hand. So I always like to tell people, if you see sexism, you're going to see racism and vice versa. So I know it's not a safe space for them because I'll argue it's not a safe space for us. So Rivals is an extreme example. I just think it's toxic from end to end. But like, I'll see women who said like, God, I wish I had a TikTok. She was like, hey, I played Overwatch like 10 years ago when it was really hot. And even then, it was just really hard for me to be in. I feel like I either had to put like a voice filter on so people didn't know it was me, or if they did see that I was a girl, then like now it's in this phase of like, oh, I love you, you're great, until you mess up and then people start yelling at you. And she said the problem isn't that in 2016 it was like that. We all agree 2016, even a little bit before then, Call of Duty, Xbox 360 day, that was bad. It's the fact that we're in 2026 and we're still seeing this behavior, or people are still trying to behave in such a way to degrade or use this as an excuse to talk bad about women. I think, again, this is a loaded question because it's so easy to be like, well, here's this example, here's this example, here's this example of places where it's not. But as a whole, systemically, I think until because like let's pull back a little and I'll give it back to you. Like when people now everywhere, when we're playing in Rivals, if we go somewhere else, they're just like, oh, this is for the vibes. This is for the vibes. This is for the vibes. And it's like, that's the joke that keeps on going around. And I personally think it's funny until the more I think about it, I'm just like, what's the punchline of the joke? Is the punchline of the joke the frustration that you felt that somebody like threw a game? Or is it the fact that like CC and Zaza, I think both of them are women, like did that? So it's just like, I always wonder, it's like, are we actually going to learn anything from this? Because you gave a good example in the beginning of the stream. We had somebody who threw. That was, I'm pretty sure, a guy that threw. And I see more guys do temper tantrums on Rivals than any other person on there. But because there was a woman specifically that was showcased on this, it almost feels like this gives people the avenue to kind of throw. But like I see more men complain and throw their controllers and punch TVs and anything. So I'm just like, it's interesting, man. I still think we still got some work to do.
Yeah, and to get into the chat real quick, and to everybody that's here, shout out to everybody that's here. We've already been at like 29 views already. We've been only going for like 20 minutes. So thanks to everybody that's coming through, especially everybody that's new, because I think damn near between this episode and then the last one, I've dropped the 2 Marvel and DC videos. So I had a huge influx of like new people that became a part of the channel and part of the community. So again, thank you to everybody that stopped by, sub to the channel, and wanted to pop in with everything. But to get into the chat really quickly, my boy Cyber Dad, shout out to Nick. He says, "Oh my God, dude's chatting a couple different things." Hold on. Damn, Nick. The first thing, we have to stop expecting those spaces to be safe for us when we can make those spaces ourselves. And I can agree with that. But I also want to point to the idea that a lot of the spaces that we create in ourselves aren't supported, if that makes any sense. In regards to the idea that this is a Marvel Rivals, a major game that everybody's playing, that has all this accessibility, all these different things going into it, all this money being passed around it. And especially if you're a creator, this can be something that it really can make your career. I think a lot of creators like made their streaming careers with this game when it started off. So it's something that if you're ambitious, especially as a creator, you're going to get involved in these things, and you should be able to feel safe being involved in a space like this to make your career, and not just take the hard grind of like, because you could say, all right, cool, I'll play X the next game that's not Marvel Rivals, or I'll play Rivals but only play it with this select group of people. You're going to have an objectively longer and more difficult grind to get to the level of success that you're hoping to get to, versus if you're just in the spaces where all these other creators are thriving, because you want to be in the community where everybody else is popping at, and you can also pick some things up and learn some things. And I feel like in doing that, you should be able to feel safe in your journey of trying to be the creator of that level. Moving on, my guy Action Packed FTW, he says there's million upon millions of games on the market. There's a safe space for women, but in the multiplayer online gaming medium, there's always going to be little D incels saying dumb things, and I can agree with that. As far as the gaming, to his point, there's going to always be a game that you can go play to find peace. I think it's just really fucked up when you have to think about the factor of, if I'm a woman, if I want to have peace, I'm now cut off from like most of the more popular games in the world at that point. Because to your point, because this isn't the thing with all online games, because that's why you see a lot of women play The Sims. They kind of enjoy themselves and kind of be able to be free and not be harassed. But if you are a woman that wants to play something like a Rivals, or let's say COD or 2K, any of those games that are usually male dominated, you just have to accept that you either can't turn your mic on, or you have to, your point about the one homegirl, she has to put a voice modulator on her shit. Like, it's just certain things you have to acknowledge and accept when you're in these spaces, because you understand you're highly likely to run across somebody that's going to be highly misogynistic, highly fucking just like weird about you. Because some dudes, they won't be aggressive with you, but they'll like get weirdly overtly sexual just off of hearing your voice alone. So it's sad. And I think there's 2 more similar sentiments about MMOs, and how they like playing MMOs with women, because a lot of them are healers, not my friends. They send big booms and heavy booms. Yeah. Again, I have a lot of homegirls that I play games with, and I enjoy my time playing with them. So I don't feel bad, but I do feel bad at the same time for the chuds who they can't be around or even in the presence of women without being fucking weird, because you would really enjoy yourself if you didn't try to fuck every woman you talk to, or be weird around every woman you talk to, because you'd have great moments and great bonds and friendships and whatever it may be. But yeah, you got another sentiment before we move? Well, I'm not going to transition out of this.
I just want to touch the idea of people in the chat talking about support, because women tend to go into those roles of healing because it's more nurturing. I do want to like highlight the keyword in my head when I said that, like tend, like women do tend to be more nurturing, empathetic, or more into those type of things. But dude, like I think we shouldn't limit ourselves to that. I've seen plenty of women play tank and they're kick ass at it. And I'm personally, maybe I'm a little biased, I am a support main. Like I get so much bliss like of healing. Charlie plays tank, like Diesel plays tank, and I love doing it. He's tank commander, but I like healing him and my friends and Chris. I get a lot of enjoyment out of that. So I think because that, unfortunately, women do tend to like lean into that statistically, what we find is like, even in a woman, if she does speak up in these sort of MMO like style games, the first thing a guy says, like, just go back and healing. It's almost like go back into the kitchen, where it kind of like degrades the actual role itself, when in reality, you're only being as reckless as you are because I'm healing you. So it's just like, there's just, despite it still just being a game, you still see those like gender dynamics happen. That's really frustrating. So I just wanted to highlight that. That comment popped up. It just made me think about that.
Yeah, it's funny. Action Packed, are you a woman? You know what? I've talked to Action Packed and they've been like involved in the comment section for a couple of different videos. If you are a woman, or I don't know how you identify, I didn't even know. He or she says it could also depend on the game. I play support in some games, DPS in other games. And I will say too, Rivals, bro, Rivals fun. Rivals is fun. Like it's fun to play support. I ain't gonna hold you. Because to your point, I played mostly tank when the game came out because I am the fucking tank commander for niggas that don't know. But when I started to play around with some of the support players, I'm like, oh, this is fun, and I could be, well, especially now with more players coming out. You can feel like a tank. You can feel like a DPS, depending on the character and whatnot. But it's interesting. That is like a study. I wonder if somebody's done in regards to like women naturally moving towards healing roles in general. Maybe you could talk about it being like maybe a perceived feminine trait due to the patriarchy or whatever it may be, but it's interesting. And my bad, Action Pack. Okay, you're a dude. That's confirmed. My bad. Didn't know. Didn't want to disrespect you. And Alex says it's wild to suggest there's an innate behavioral reason to play a video game in a certain way because of gender. I don't think it's that crazy, Alex, just based off of, again, I think it's a patriarchal thing to where if you're a woman and you're raised to be like play with Barbie dolls and raised to believe, oh, the job you're supposed to have are nurse, or you're supposed to be a mother, you're doing things that are inherently nurturing or motherly and caretaking in regards to the roles. You're probably just going to inherently do things like that or take on roles like that as you go on your life, go along your life. Is it right inherently? I don't believe so, but I think that's how you can get to that point, because it's something that is very much so real in regards to like the type of toys girls get. Like girls don't get destructive toys; they get Barbie doll houses and things that are more creative and nurturing. They get babies, which is, think about it now. That's a crazy ass concept that you're giving a baby a baby.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
get that girl a Nerf gun and call it a fucking day. What are we doing?
Yeah, I agree.
This is
Yeah,
funny.
it's very, to Alex's point, it's very nature be a nurture. I know in our nature, like give another example, women tend to actually grab onto language and read faster than men. We don't now therefore just believe that women are just a superior reader. We catch up through our nurture habits. So like and flip side, I know sometimes people really like to lean into like, well, women just like to do this because they're like nurturing folks. Nature naturally, I guess, genetically, but then like the nurture aspect of it, like doesn't necessarily mean that men can't do that either. And I find that, I like to plot myself out there. Like I only lean more into like that nurturing stuff growing up as a kid. Like I didn't actually like any of the action figures and stuff. Most of the like healing or girly things that people would like I like that. So and I don't think it was necessarily because of anybody forcing that on me. It was just like I just played with my environment. And I was like, yeah, this is what really clicks for me. So it's I think you're right. I think somebody needs to do like a paper or a presentation about that. Like, I love to see the actual reality of like, is there a distinct difference between men and women when it comes to like killing roles? Because it's not just rivals. Like in Call of Duty and Battlefield, there's like killing support roles. Like I think in the Helldivers, like there's like, you can be somebody who supplies people with ammunition if it runs out. So I do wonder if there's like a statistic that can kind of break that down for folks. So I will do it.
And there's another coming from my boy Cyber Dad that I want to speak into. He speaks on there's a lot of untapped market in our spaces that could develop this safe spaces, in my opinion, that we don't need the acceptance of, or the smelly unwashed ones. I agree. But I ain't gonna lie to my nigga. I'd also like to probably throw out there that I think some of the spaces that we have are also smelly unwashed. And this one, you'll probably get more conversation around it whenever the first video of Black History Month drops, where I sit down and watch react to Boys in the Hood. But when I'm looking at the way the Black community then, and honestly a lot to extent now with a lot of the gender war shit, there's a lot of Black spaces that are also really fucking weird around how they interact with women. Especially within the Black nerd community, like niggas get really fucking weird. Like when you go to certain conventions and you just see the way some dudes act. Like if you go to BlurCon, right, boy, if you are a hetero cis male, BlurCon you'll love, because the amount of attractive women that are just walking out with cheeks around is beautiful. But you can actively see the niggas that act weird when you see women that are wearing things more revealing or doing X, Y, and Z. They have all these thought processes on how they were raised, who they are, what they're like, how they treat men, X, Y, and Z, and they have no idea who that woman is. And it's supposed to be a safe Black nerd space. And I think it's a whole thing where like we have to also check the people in our space. And that's why I'm so like kind of more so looking at the idea that women don't really have. I mean, I'm not gonna say they don't have any safe spaces. I think there are places women can be safe within gaming, obviously, especially a lot of the like women created spaces. But I don't think the default solution is just to go and we'll just default into our own spaces, at least when it comes to Black people. But yeah, that's just been my experience with that because I've been to BlurCon twice now. One working in a vendor's booth, and the other one is just kind of more as a creator, kind of just roaming around all the different areas. And that's kind of stuff I've noticed. A few niggas is musty. I ain't gonna hold you. That last time I was kind of surprised. I was like, damn. All the other conventions I went to, there was musty people, and the one time I went to a Black Center one, it was all cocoa butter, shea butter. Last year, I caught a couple whiffs of some musty niggas, and it was cold. So I was like, why is it cold outside and you still musty? I don't understand. CreamCon is DreamCon, I thought. I thought that was a nickname for DreamCon. BlurCon, well, I don't know. With Freaknik being the theme this year, I don't know. We're gonna see how that goes. But yeah, last little reaction TikTok I had that I thought was so fucking funny with this topic was a woman giving her thought processes on the entire tournament. And again, I thought it was dope just from the factor of it's good to see that like there are women who look at this and they're not just going to instantly side with one side because of their women, but like I'll just show the clip and just laugh at it.
Why are you making me agree with a man? Look at me. I said, look at me. Why are you making me agree with a man? I got into trouble because I said, if you don't switch on quick play, I think you're an asshole. Okay, much less a tournament with 40K on the line. I may be a woman, but I found out that I am a strategist main first because what do you mean you are an insta-locking one-trick pony DPS player? I hate you. He actually only would have gotten 3K. Only 3K? Only? I have a new plan. You get to play Black Widow. You just also have to pay 3 months of my rent. That's the new strategy. It's a team game. It's a team game. It's not the all about you game. Okay? It's not that you want to play Black Widow game. It's a team game. If I am playing a friendly game of basketball with some friends, and my teammate is like, I'm gonna wear heels. No, I can run in them. You can run better without them. Then you put 3K on the line. And that bitch is still like, I'm gonna wear my heels anyway. He was so polite too the whole time. Even when he got passionate, he was so polite. I would have called her a bitch.
And that's the core. That is the core of it, right? At the end of the day, as a person who also plays strategist, you chose a DPS player as probably the hardest DPS player to play for 3K. And it's just like it's incredibly frustrating because at the end of the day, this is a team game. So it's just like you deciding to think you're above everybody just shows that this is beyond you just being a woman. You're just being a person that's selfish and not thinking about the team here. Because if you do your part, everybody gets this money too on top of that. So it's just like at this, I don't want to shut up. I'll change. I'm a Magic man. If Charlie told me, hey, Jordan, I think you need to switch, would we do that in our own games? Charlie be like, hey, bro, Chris, I ain't gonna hold you, bro. I might need you to switch. And Chris is like, word, got you. Like, we all have to keep each other accountable. So it's like,
usually it has nothing to do with how they're performing. It's like, oh, I'm tank. I'm getting fucking shredded as soon as I step into the front line. I see, oh, we got a Rocket and a fucking Ultron as our healers. Yeah, gang, we may need a Cloak and Dagger. Can y'all help me out? I know you play Cloak and Dagger. Can you please make that switch so I can survive and make space? And it's a switch.
Yeah, that's it.
I'll come off a tank if need be. If I'm in a shitty tank game, hey, gang, let me jump to DP. Let me jump to healer real quick. Because if I'm getting shredded like that, I'm trying to, if we're in a competitive environment and we're not in quick play where I can just fucking just fight through it, yeah, bro. You tell me that we got 3K on the line, my nigga, you are one of my best friends. If there's 3K on the line and you're like, I'm hard liking fucking Luna Snow right now, I don't give a fuck. And I see you got like 2K healing at the end of a round and you died 50 times, I may call you a bitch. I ain't gonna hold you. 3K on the line? 3K.
Yes. In this economy? Yeah.
I don't even call nobody out their name, but I may call you outside of your name with 3K on the line. Like, Nick,
and that's the crazy and that's the crazy thing. If she would have swapped, Kings was playing well. Like, it wasn't a team playing, but it was literally just her. Like, they would have won. That's the sad part, man.
Yep. Well, I guess the The only way to sum this up is
You're supposed to be our number one, and you're playing like a bum.
moving into the next topic, y'all. This is going to be a very interesting one. We don't get to talk about music too often on this, and I think this is going to tangentially be music related. But for anybody that isn't aware, Mr. Yeezy, Mr. West, Mr. Kanye, Mr. Ye, however you want to address him, he recently came out and paid a significant amount of money to be in the Wall Street Journal, I believe was the media publication, and he put out a lengthy apology to not just the Black community, but to everyone. And for anyone who hasn't seen it, I have it right here. This is the article, and I'll read a good bit of this out to y'all. To those I've heard, 25 years ago, I was in a car accident that broke my jaw and caused injury to the right frontal lobe of my brain. At the time, the focus was on the visible damage, the fracture, the swelling, and the immediate physical trauma. The deeper injury, the one inside my skull, went unnoticed. Comprehensive scans were not done, neurological exams were limited, and possibility of a frontal lobe injury was never raised. It wasn't properly diagnosed until 2023. That medical oversight caused serious damage to my mental health and led to my bipolar type 1 diagnosis. Now, he continues here to give a definition of what bipolar type 1 is and how the disorder works. Essentially kind of getting to the idea of once people label you as crazy, you feel as though you cannot contribute to anything meaningful to the world. It's easy for people to joke and laugh it off when in fact that's a very serious debilitating disease you can die from. According to the World Health Organization, though, and Cambridge University, people with bipolar disorder have a life expectancy that is shortened by 10 to 15 years on average, and 2 to 3 times higher all-cause mortality rate. All-cause mortality rate higher than the general population. This is on par with severe heart disease and type 1 diabetes, HIV, and cancer, all lethal and fatal if left untreated. The scariest thing about this disorder is how persuasive it is. When it tells you you don't need help, it makes you blind, but convinced that you have insight. You feel powerful, certain, and unstoppable. I lost touch with reality. Things got worse the longer I ignored the problem. I said and did things I deeply regret. Some of the people I loved the most, I treated the worst. You endured fear, confusion, humiliation, and exhaustion of trying to have someone who was at all times unrecognizable. Looking back, I became detached from my true self. In that fractured state, I gravitated towards the most destructive symbol I could find, the swastika. That nigga was out there highland. And even so, t-shirts bearing it. One of the difficult aspects of having bipolar type 1 are the disconnected moments, many of which I still cannot recall, that led to poor judgment, disconnected moments, many of which I still cannot recall. That led to poor judgment and reckless behavior that often feels like an out-of-body experience. I regret and am deeply mortified by the actions in that state and committed to accountability, treatment, and meaningful change. It does not excuse what I did, though. Keep that in mind, y'all. I am not a Nazi, because I don't want to get my shit clapped on YouTube saying that shit, or an anti-Semite. I love the Jewish people. Last little bit here. Damn, let me zoom in. Fuck. Having bipolar disorder is a notable state of constant mental illness when you go into a manic episode. You were ill at that point. When you were not in an episode, you were completely normal. And that's when the wreckage from the illness hits the hardest. Hitting rock bottom a few months ago, my wife encouraged me to finally get help. I found comfort in Reddit forums of all places. Different people speak of being in manic or depressive episodes of a similar nature. I read their stories and I realized that I was not alone. It's not just me who ruins their entire life once a year, despite taking meds every day, being told by the so-called best doctors in the world that I am not bipolar, but merely experiencing symptoms of autism. Doctors blaming this shit on autism. My words as a leader in my community have global impact and influence. In my mania, I lost complete sight of that. As I find my new baseline and new center through an effective regime of medication, therapy, exercise, and clean living, I have newfound much needed clarity. I am pouring my energy into positive meaningful art, music, clothing design, and other new ideas to help the world. I'm not asking for sympathy or free pass, though I aspire to earn your forgiveness. I write today, simply to ask for your patience and understanding as I find my new way home. With love, Yay. Now, y'all,
I need you to read audiobooks, by the way. That was really funny. I think
I ain't gonna hold you. I low key, and I guess this is like fucking like propaganda for comics. I feel like because I've been reading so much lately and so many comics, my speaking and my shout out to Kai Snyder, you kind of talked about it. The more you read and the more frequent you read, especially with comics where I have to like distinguish like tone and things like that, I feel like my speaking and my vernacular, big words, have gotten a lot better. I ain't gonna hold you.
Yeah, that's good. Good.
Getting into this though, this annoys me for a couple reasons. One, he's scapegoating mental health. And it's something that I'm so tired of people doing when they act like fucking imbeciles and assholes is, oh, I'm autistic. Oh, I have this such and such mental illness. Second, he's fucking bullshitting. The stuff with the big symbol for the mustache man, brother, I vividly remember being in high school and seeing niggas walking around with jackets with the Confederate flag and a patch on the fucking sleeve. You were putting out problematic imagery way before then and complimenting that shit and saying that it was high fashion. And niggas were wearing that shit. You had niggas in high school buying jackets, black kids at that, with the fucking Confederate flag on his fucking shoulder. I call bullshit on that. Brother, you're trying to tell me that Kim, or not even Kim, that fucking whatever his new wife's name is. You're trying to tell me that your wife now finally begged you to get help, but the mother of your child and everyone else around you for the years prior were begging you to go get help, and you didn't see it until then. And you're trying to like what really irritated me with it was, yes, you're taking accountability, but you put in this extensive definition explaining what the mental illness was, and also comparing it to things like cancer, to diabetes, and things of that nature, trying to show how deadly and how serious the thing is for you, because you're trying to get sympathy at the end of the day. And then on top of that, you're still assuming that you have a voice within the black community as a leader. My nigga, that shit was dead a long ago. And I said the last thing, but this is for the last thing that really annoyed the fuck out of me, was the whole idea that now for you to get repentance and for you to grow, you think that means you need to create more art. Brother, your art was what got you into the situation. If you really wanted to fucking tone, nigga, stop making music. Just put new people on. Donate money, help other artists get on. Stop fucking making music. Stop putting out clothes. You've made enough music. You put out enough clothes for a fucking lifetime. I promise you. Niggas are still listening to the old Kanye. I'm listening to old Kanye. I have no interest in what you're putting out now. I don't give a fuck what that shit is now. That shit could be the hardest fucking out the crate sample ever with the hardest. I do not give a fuck. I'm sorry. I'm past that. But that's just me. What are your thoughts on this? And after you go, then we'll kind of get to some of the comments here.
Yeah, I mean, the fact of the matter is his album drops in a couple of days or next week or whatever. Like, it's hard not to look at Kanye's apology letter and think like this seems kind of situational. Now, I'm reading the news right now, and like he literally said, like, or at least an article posted an hour ago that he claims, hey, like I'm not doing this for the album sales. I genuinely just want to apologize to like black folks and to everybody else. But we just been burned so many times. Like he put in there. And it almost feels like a manipulation tactic. It's like, I don't need your sympathy, but I really want it. And it's like, well, the reality is that we've given you this multiple times. There's still some people to this day that still defend you like crazy. But it's just like the fact of the matter is like who you were. No, who you are now. This is how this is how you always been. You've just been a contrarian. Like at the time where, people were loving you back during the Bush administration, you're basically just being opposite of what that was. And now like, you're trying to be this cool, like counterculture thing to kind of stay relevant. So to me, it's like, if you want me to be on it, if you want me to be really honest, even though he's lying throughout that letter, I actually think deep inside, he does feel sorrow for what he's done only because he's now not getting the attention and the respect that he thinks he deserves. He really wants to see himself as one of those like big leaders in black culture and black. Like I think he genuinely wants to be that, and he knows that's lost, and he absolutely hates that. He does feel sorry about that, But I think for the actual like stuff he's done to get to this point, I think if you ask Kanye, hey, would you change anything about what you did to this point? I don't think he'll say no. Because I think what he craves the most is attention. So like this lyricist feels like a attention letter, because I think a lot of people in the comments said it best and you said it best. If he really wants to like atone, I think he should just focus on the grind, man. Help somebody else out. I'm happy with him not making music and just making beats for folks, like up and coming artists. Like, hey, I'll make your beats, like beats by Kanye West, but I ain't gonna speak on anything. Like, give your money to like. There's just so many ways they can do this. It just feels like I don't know. Like it just feels kind of dirty. So just like I could be wrong. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Just like maybe the next like 10 years of his life, if he actually shows action that he's actually trying to change, I'm still not gonna forgive him. But like I'll see that he's actually trying to make steps. But all this is just words to me. This is what's that thing that people used to say on Twitter? Is I ain't reading all that shit. Either congratulations that happened or sorry that happened. I'm not reading any of that. Like that's what probably a lot of people felt when they saw that letter. So.
Mm-hmm. I think he woke up from a nightmare, and I'm just so sad. I don't know what I did. I'm Kanye. I'm not Ye anymore. I'm awake. Please forgive me. Please give me validation. Please put me in the place of power that I had before I said all that crazy shit. Please give me the respect that I had, that I earned at one point. Please, I beg of you. It wasn't me. I had a fucking demon in me. Sukuna was in my body. Sukuna was making me do all kinds of crazy shit. Oh my God. Nah, gang. I'm not going for that bullshit. I'm not going for that shit, dog.
I'm glad you said that. Like one last thing. Because Elon did it. A lot of people still do it. I have known people with bipolar disorder. I know people with autism. I know people with a whole lot of mental disorders. These people have not randomly just started throwing up the symbol. It's just like, it's just such an excuse to me. I'm just like, just because you have any of those illnesses does not automatically therefore give you an excuse to be mean or an asshole or somebody that's not right. I would argue some people that are neurospicy are the ones who are actually more willing to fight for good causes. So like that, it's like you're going backwards, my boy. You're going backwards, man. And to my opinion, and Charlie understands, I've dealt with enough egotistical, narcissistic people for me. It's like, hey, man, I ain't giving you no forgiveness, my boy. So sorry, man. You asked the wrong nigga.
Somebody said it in the chat. I think Dreamer said it a couple times. Nigga, Kanye has woken up from Ye's nightmare. Oh man, and Mr. Jeff, and welcome to the new face, Mr. Jeff. I don't think I've seen you in the chat before for the live show, so and welcome. Thank you for being here and being involved and commenting and whatnot. He has an interesting point here. He says he can't wait to see what the black community will do when his record drops. I still remember R. Kelly and people sticking with him, and it is something I'm very much so understand. I know for a fact this nigga gonna drop an album. It's gonna have the most wholesome gospel fucking samples on there. This nigga gonna have Jill Scott on the album. This nigga gonna have. This nigga gonna find a way to bring fucking Whitney Houston back from the grave. This nigga gonna have Michael Jackson samples, and and certain niggas are gonna eat that shit up. I mean, oh my God, he's back. The nigga, I've been waiting on this year to come back and wake up from that nightmare. I've been waiting for that nigga to banish the nine tails from his body. Orochimaru had a hold on this nigga, but he's free now. He's a free boy. Dabi is a free elf. No, nigga. This is the same nigga we've known our entire lives. Yeah, bro. Now, I will say, they're made. Let's do this. We'll play devil's advocate, right? We'll say that he did have mental health issues caused due to that car crash, where he has all this bipolar disorder, all this stuff going about. Even if this is the case where you literally had a fucking demon, or again, I've been watching Fire Force, you had a fucking Dola version of yourself over here wreaking havoc. My nigga, at the end of the day, he was in your body, using your voice, using your platform, using your talents to spread harmful bullshit. So you are gonna have to eat that shit. And just take that shit in the chin, bro. You're done. And you have to accept that. I don't feel bad for you. You got more than enough money to enjoy your life still. You have beautiful children. It seems like you got a wife that you enjoy. My nigga, just live your life. Just don't put out your music.
You just bring up a really good point. He doesn't have to do any of this. His legacy, honestly, he could just move over the legacy he's already made. Like he's already done everything that he wants to do. I want to make good music. You've done that. You make some of the greatest music out there. You've already made the fashion. I think the rest of your life is just about smoothing this out. You know, like back in the day, like they're in the Gilded Age when billionaires were just like, oh man, people are not liking me. So they started like donating their money to parks and schools and stuff so they can hide all the horrible stuff that they did. That's all Kanye has to do. He just gotta do his thing, his part to be a good person. And then people will slowly start forgetting that stuff. And then people will only remember the good stuff. That's just what's the, you know, so I'm not saying that's right. I'm just saying, like, if he wants to go there, that's the route he should go.
My nigga Dreamer, he says, I'm not gonna lie. If he drops something like that, like something like College Dropout, I might just be one of those fans, brother.
There's powerful niggardry at work here.
Love you, Dreamer, but nigga, if you say that, I will myself hand deliver you a pair of tap shoes, nigga. No, we cannot accept. We have to have a fucking standard. There's a reason why I'm so pissed with niggas. Like, I'm pissed at Snoop. I'm pissed at Luda. I'm pissed at Nelly. I'm pissed at Rick Ross, all artists that I love. But because niggas are capitalists now and was out there tap dancing at Trump's inauguration party saying, oh, you know, it's for getting the bag, da 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 da. Dr. Nelly is full conservative. That makes sense. That nigga's a black dude from the South. So he doesn't surprise me how his views are shaped. But the other niggas, especially with a nigga like Snoop, who was very much so loud and had a lot of shit to say about Trump in that first presidency, the fact that you're now want to perform that shit and you're doing all that, like, no, nigga, we ain't forgot. You put a fucking stain on your legacy. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna forget that shit. I'm not gonna lie and say that all your music before then wasn't amazing. Like, I grew up on a lot of your music. Niggas like Luda, like, I'm from Georgia, so Luda's music is still like, I still think Luda's one of the more underrated like lyricists that ever exist in the rap period. But nigga, you got a stain. You got a stain. Niggas already thought you were corny. Now you give them a reason to believe it because you're on some bullshit. You did all that Trump shit. I'm sorry. Niggas want to get to a certain amount of a bag and become super uber capitalist. My nigga, you have enough money. I'm sorry. Nigga got into the Fast and Furious movies and started acting like he didn't know how to fucking act. Nigga went from the fro to the clean cut. Now he's a safe nigga. I was a good slave. I was a good boy. Yes, sir, boss. I get right on that, sir. Nah, gang. I don't care how. Nah, bro. Like my boy Perry said, the only music I'm worried about right now, nigga, is my Gold Cole dropping in a week. Next Friday, he's dropping. And I may take a break from that shit to listen to the T.I. album just because I fuck with T.I. heavy. That's it. Don't ask me about nobody else's music. I'm not even gonna. I don't give a fuck about the Ye shit. Unless that Ye shit is in like TikTok memes or some shit like that, and I hear like a sound bite from that, I'm not checking for no fucking Kanye music. I'm sorry. Can't do it. That shit pissed me off. The message, the heights that Ye fell off from was snap anyone's neck, because that nigga was a god to so many people. Nigga was on video game soundtracks. Nigga was everybody's idol in regards to how they made music. Everybody wanted to be a producer. Like, everybody wanted to be like Kanye. There are so many niggas now. Hell, niggas that are old, niggas that are like older millennials that are all trying to get clothing brands off the ground because of the influence of Kanye West. Niggas wanted to make shoes. Niggas wanted to make clothes. I know so many niggas in Atlanta that have their own. I know students that I met in college that wanted to make their own clothing brands because of that shit. Like, a lot of the fashion we have now from niggas like Cardi or whoever it may be is directly inspired from Kanye West. But he just decided to fucking jump off. And I ain't gonna hold you, another nigga, young boy, you ain't slick, nigga. I seen it.
Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
That nigga's a tap dancing nigga too. I seen that shit. If y'all want to see the clip, y'all can go find it. This nigga.
If you want to be honest too,
yeah, bro.
If you want to be honest, Sexy Red is too. If you want to keep it a real being, I love her, but unfortunately, there's stuff that she does. See them out. You know what I mean?
If you want it, yeah, bro.
If you want it, go there.
Again, I'm not gonna act like y'all the devil because I understand why you're doing it. I understand being a capitalist and what it's all about, especially for artists that probably won't have a lot of longevity. But it's a stain on your legacy. I hope you're willing to accept that when it comes down to all-time conversations and who the greats were and who niggas remember for long after they're dead. You wouldn't be a nigga like MF Doom did not have the heights and popularity that certain of y'all niggas had, but I guarantee you he'll be looked at more fondly than a lot of you niggas. If that's not important to you, cool, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Adidas took a beat before shutting Yeezys down. Yeah, bruh. Adidas already in my mind. I'm kind of I can't remember it correctly, but y'all correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't Adidas founded by ex, Heil members in general?
Yes, yes,
Yes.
Adidas. Yeah, yeah. It's not. I mean, yeah, it's from Germany. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. So I already be kind of weird about Adidas in general, but yeah. And if we're being a whole hundred, we're being a thou wow with the shit. They also are problematic and well with regards to like their impact on the community. Because I do remember how they changed fucking Run DMC into fucking capitalist. When my Adidas dropped after that shit was not the same. Niggas moved differently. Niggas were capitalist now. And a lot of, to Perry's point, a lot of other brands are like that as well. Again, not saying we can't take money from these brands, not saying we can't work with these brands, but if you let these brands dictate who you are and corrupt your fucking morals and ethics, you can go sit in the trash can or the special ed classroom with everybody else. I'm sorry, because you're not using your full brain capacity. But yeah, that was probably the most I've been animated on any topic in general. That shit just really irritated the fuck out of me, because you just do all the shit you did and then start crying for, like, the nigga was crying for forgiveness and tried to fucking like, well, see, if you talk about the how crucial and how hurt this fucking bipolar disorder is, I'm like, bro, shut the fuck up. Mr. Alik Bulan, again, sorry if I'm butchering your name. Welcome to the stream, brother. Welcome. Another new face. He says we need more physicists and engineers at comics writing stories. Man, I miss McDuffie. I do too. I miss people like Dwayne McDuffie, who called out the bullshit in the industry when he saw it, despite however it would affect his career. Which I think one of my, like, the Spike video I did, I was looking at the not the magical Negro, but the teenage skating Negroes. Essentially, it was a whole thing that McDuffie put out, kind of critiquing how at that point in the 80s or the 90s, all the black kids had skateboards and were doing all kinds. Yeah, bro. We need more people like that within the industry, because we have too many niggas like a DJ Academics, too many niggas like Fat Joe, too many niggas that are just allowing bullshit to go unchecked because of the connections that they have. Oh yeah, when Jill Scott may be the only other artist I would like take a slight pause from the Cole album to go check out, because I love Jill Scott. Listen to Long Walk all the fucking time. But y'all, moving on into the last topic. Y'all, for anyone that is new to the channel, that does not know me personally, I want to let y'all know I'm a massive Star Wars fan. Star Wars is one of those franchises that me as a nerd got introduced to and got hooked on, and I could not let it go. I couldn't. Space wizards with light swords, niggas doing triple backflips and shit, evil wizards with the same light swords doing triple backflips and shit. As a kid, loved it. We'll take a quick intermission. My guy, Mr. Alubaki, I'm probably butchering your name, I'm so sorry. This particular stream, the Captain's Lounge, goes live every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And then on Sunday, I have a live that I do on Sundays with my homegirl, Dr. K. Knight, and we talk everything comic books that week, from comic book trends and anything we're in our pull list box. So the show is called Pull List Therapy. So we go over what's in our pull box that week and just comics as a whole is what we do. So I go live Tuesdays and Sundays. But yes, Star Wars. And I bring up Star Wars to give out this news for anybody that isn't aware. And if you watched the video I put out today, I think literally like a few hours ago, you'll get more of my thoughts on that, or my fresh thoughts on it. But Lucasfilm has announced that Kathleen Kennedy has now stepped down as president in her role in leadership from Star Wars, and she is now being replaced by Dave Filoni and Llewellyn Brennan as co-presidents. It seems as though Dave Filoni is going to be handling a lot of the creative endeavors, and Ms. Brennan is going to be handling a lot of the money aspect of things. And this has been a long time coming. If you watched the In and Out podcast, which is the podcast that I'm on as well on YouTube, and I've been doing that for we've been going strong with In and Out for like 5 to 6 years now. If you watch any like Star Wars episodes that we've had before now, you'll see me like plead and beg to have Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau head up Star Wars and decision making that they have. Because when you look at all of the things that Star Wars has had in regards to any smidgen of a W, it's usually coming at the hands of Jon Favreau or Dave Filoni being involved in it somehow or other, whether it be The Mandalorian, whether it be the Clone Wars, whether it be Star Wars Rebels, whether it be the Bad Batch, whether it be the Skeleton Crew, pretty much all their animation department. When you're looking at all the spinoffs they tried to get off, even the spinoffs that were bad but people watched, they all were spin-offs and derivatives of The Mandalorian because they were usually characters that were introduced within The Mandalorian. So the Book of Boba Fett, the Obi-Wan show. Hell, I forgot the Ahsoka show, my favorite fucking Star Wars character. When you're looking at the characters in regards to representation and putting women and minorities on the forefront, Filoni does that. Some of the more influential women within Star Wars history have come from Filoni's mind, or at least people that have worked within his camp, being Ahsoka Tano, a character that, again, I have a whole video on her out as well. Everybody hated her at first, but they let the nigga cook, and he cooked up a fan favorite. Asajj Ventress, another fan favorite. Bo-Katan, Sabine Wren, all these different women characters within these shows that are fan favorites that are now in live action. Is it a coincidence? I think not. Filoni's cooking, so I'm excited to see what he does. As of now, I haven't seen him announce what his plans are going towards the future of it. But before we get into the future of Star Wars, what are your initial thoughts, Jay, on this whole news? I don't know how I asked you before, but I don't know how tapped in you've been to like Star Wars like up until this point.
So I want to say I'm like the biggest Star Wars fan in the world, but I love Star Wars. Just as much as I love Star Wars, just as much as I hate Disney Star Wars. So like, and I understood Kathy Kennedy was a huge part on why she's the one who oversaw the sequel trilogy and how disastrous that was, how they had no plan whatsoever to make those three a coherent story to just about everything else in the background. And it gets frustrating because like sometimes Star Wars fans, the people who hate Star Wars the most is Star Wars fans. So there's a lot of dialogue. And then like sometimes people will lean into this very like gender thing with Kathy because she was a woman, but that's not what this is here, in my opinion. It's just a simple fact. She, from the moment that Disney got this acquisition and she was given like the reins of president oversight, it just seemed like she didn't really know what to do with the material. You had like Star Wars Legends, you had the books basically after the original trilogy that you could use all that material. Then you decide, okay, let's not make that canon. Let's start something fresh. Let's do a sequel trilogy based off our ideas. Don't have a coherent story, and then each and it wasn't supposed to be like that, but each story basically have a different director. Like from that alone, that's a fireball offense. That means you just don't know what you're doing. So to see somebody where, despite, I think literally the only thing that Kathy oversaw that I will argue is a good movie from the Disney era is Rogue One.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. So to see, Dave, who's one of the few people throughout this whole era that gave us something, because you can just tell. I mean, he's been with Lucasfilm since 2005. Like he really cares about this. You can just see in the quality of his work. He just really cares about this, and he's seen that he was the only one on staff that really, really understood at least what that feeling that George Lucas had when he was making Star Wars. So to see this coming, I guess it never really dawned on me when you first told me, but now when I'm really looking at this is a long time coming. So I'm excited. I'm excited, honestly, for him. I can't imagine being in a company 20 years. You're probably the one who understands most of this the most, and everybody's telling you this is not the idea that we're going to go with. So seeing him now as president, I know people are like, well, he should be full president. He has a co-president. It doesn't matter. It seems like the co-president is more for like British. It doesn't even seem like he seems like still the main guy here. So it's just like I'm excited for him to be able to do. There's nobody above him besides like a Disney executive, but I wouldn't think they wouldn't have put him in this spot if they didn't want to go with his idea. So I'm excited. I won't be shocked in the next couple of months. They might do like a roadmap, like how Marvel does, just get people like excited about what's next to come. I'm pretty sure he's been waiting for a day like this where he can finally like play off his ideas that he wants, and now he can make it canon. So I'm excited. Is he going to retcon anything from the sequel trilogy? I don't know. Is he going to just say the sequel trilogy doesn't exist? That's my dream. So the sequel trilogy just doesn't exist. It didn't happen.
So what I do want to do, I do want to be fair. I do want to give Kathleen Kennedy a bit of bail because she one was not the best fit for that position, and she ran the business in how she knew best. Because for people that don't know, Kathleen Kennedy has been in the industry for a long time. She worked with niggas like Spielberg way back in the '80s, so she's tenured in how things operate. But she
Sure.
moves from a pure business mentality. She's a businesswoman first. She is all about making
Right.
money. So when you look at decisions she made in regards to what projects were greenlit and what was a part of those projects, it made sense. Because a lot of the stuff that she would try to get out there that would be newer, that would push Star Wars forward in regards to future generations, being something like the Acolyte, for instance, anything really that featured women or any minority characters for the most part to add diversity towards the franchise. Because for the most part, this franchise has been mostly white male centered for a long time, and if women were involved, they were overly sexualized, like Leia. But those projects suffered from the white, or I don't even just say white, just chuds in general, people that are in it for the wrong reasons. And we saw that a lot of the bigger creators on YouTube as well that were Star Wars creators saw that, oh, this is during the point or time where the right-wing grift will give me a lot of money and attention and following. I'll do that. Niggas like Star Wars Theory, I talked about it in the recent video I put out. I was a major Star Wars Theory fan. I watched all that niggas videos to like really educate me on a lot of how Star Wars stuff went. And when I saw that he would just like turn a blind eye at racism or misogyny in his chat, he would start to get some of that shit off in his own videos in regards to like critiquing certain things in a certain particular way. Certain creators are going about critiquing Acolyte, but calling the character not by her name, but calling her strong female black protagonist. That's what they would address her as. I'm like, okay, cool. That's what you're trying to get off. That vocal and loud minority caused more irreparable damage to Star Wars than you can even imagine. And it's not even just now. When you're looking at now and someone like Hayden Christensen being Anakin Skywalker and being the Anakin Skywalker, and a lot of people love him, and you go back in time to look at how people were bullying this child when he first was taking on this role, to the point to where he was so mentally out of it, where he considered leaving acting as a whole, and I think at one point considering self-harm. That was the people that are very loud and vocal about how shit was when it comes to women or minorities being centered in any story. Those are the same people. They grew up or they adopted more younger people to keep that mentality. And those loud minorities are a lot of the reasons why you couldn't have things grow. When you look at the rise, I think it was the Rise of the Jedi was the first one. Not Rise of the Skywalker. I remember what the name of the fucking first movie in the trilogy was. Well, you're introduced to Rey for the first time. I thought the movie was solid. You introduce Rey. You introduce a dope concept in Finn in regards to finally seeing someone from a stormtrooper perspective that was trying to redeem himself. Dude introduced the concept that, hey, this person is great, not because they are a part of some massive Skywalker bloodline where she's destined to be great, not because they are this chosen Jesus Christ baby, but because she is just Rey. And her parents they're not important to the story. She is important to her own story. People hated that shit. People didn't like Finn. Black man holding a lightsaber, black man surviving for a few seconds against Kylo. Can't have that. So you move into the second movie, right? Second movie, what do we find out? She is not only a descendant of a powerful bloodline, but she is the granddaughter of the biggest fucking villain to damn near ever exist within Star Wars lore, period, in Palpatine. She's a Palpatine. She's inherently a Mary Sue because she's part of this broken-ass bloodline. Completely changing and backtracking from the original point. Granted, I do understand in the middle of these movies, there's an entirely different director put in, but I wonder why. Second movie, they also introduce a character by the name of Rose. Now, Rose, I'm not going to say if I enjoyed the character or not. I'll say this. I don't think I enjoyed the character too much. I didn't enjoy that arc that Finn went on, that little side quest that Finn went on with her. I'm like, bro, I'm here for the Space Wizards. I don't really care too much about Finn doing extra shit off with a new random character in the second movie. But you introduced her. You gave her significant screen time. You gave her things to do. And you connected her to one of the main characters from the first film who has a lot of shit to do. So now I expect her to have more shit to do in the third movie. What happens in the third movie? Well, for whatever reason, media and public finds out that she identifies as a queer woman. There's a lot of public backlash. And she ends up in the third movie having less minutes, less vocal, less speaking lines than the dead woman that made an appearance in that film. which is a whole different conversation around if that was ethical to use AI to bring dead actors back to life to play themselves. Now, I understand maybe things with James Earl Jones and Vader because it's a voice, but when you put a nigga's whole face, like with fucking like Turk, I can't remember Turkin's actor, I can't remember his name on the top of my head, but you're putting their entire faces in which they look fucking like ghosts and specters, and you're putting them in the movie, but you're giving them more lines than this character you spent an entire film building up. I wonder why. Loud vocal minority fucking shut up for Star Wars. Now, I'm not saying that all the reason why that trilogy was fucked up was because of them, because I think there was a lot of creative decisions that were wrong inherently to start with in regards to how that trilogy was put together. But we would have at least had some form of a cohesive story from the start if people would have let them fucking do their thing. And I will also not throw out all the bail from the directors and the writers because, or even like, I don't know how much creative decision that is, because I will admit there is a lot of power that Bob Iger, the guy that runs Disney, has in regards to decisions being made. So I'm not going to put this all on Kathleen. I think Kathleen was responsible for a lot of bad things, and we'll get into that in a second. But I do want to harp on the fact that all these right-wing motherfuckers, all these chuds and grifters did not help the situation that was going on. They didn't, in regards to that stuff. Now, with Kathleen, she is not without sin, because for the main factor of the factor of the matter is, then I will say this: there are some rumors that went around that I'm not sure how accurate they were because of how much hate she got from that side of the internet. But if it's any truth to this, the fact that Acolyte was initially pitched as an Asajj Ventress solo series, and she decided to go towards the pitch of there being twins because of her own personal relationship with the twin, that would piss me off. Now, again, I'm not, y'all let me in the chat, y'all let me know if there's ever, that was a confirmed thing that she ever said, but I saw an article years ago saying that was a thing around the time Acolyte was going around. And that pissed me off royally because I thought Ventress was the character who deserved to have some spotlight, and I would have enjoyed to see that show. And we ended up getting to see a snippet of what that could have been like in the Tales from the Dark Side, or Tales from the Empire. And it was fucking phenomenal to see Ventress in that role again. But granted, Cree Summers is just an amazing voice. I think it's Cree Summers is the voice actor for Ventress in the animated version. Killed that shit. But all that to say, again, Kathleen is not without fault, but I do not put all the blame on what happened on Kathleen Kennedy. Now, there's a point I want to bring up to you, Jordan, that I find very interesting. Very interesting.
Talk to me.
Filoni is not unanimously loved in regards to being chosen to be the new leader and president. And not for reasons you would think, not because he was involved in a Disney era, but because I've seen, because I made it a point before I even made my video that I dropped earlier today to watch videos through a fucking shadow account of a lot of the right-wing content creators that made content around this shit to see what they thought about this decision. And I saw a lot of concern because they see Filoni as a male feminist. And I found that interesting, which, thinking back on it, I see where they got that perspective from because he's so instrumental in so many of the women characters having a really, big character arc as a whole and not just being, eye candy or side characters. Somebody like an Ahsoka Tano, somebody like Sabine Wren, somebody like Bo-Katan, somebody like all the other characters that we discussed. He does pretty good about that. I found that very interesting. That, okay, cool. We're concerned about him platforming women in Star Wars, but we're not concerned about all the good projects that he brought forth. And for a lot of people that are fucking George Lucas purists, he also works very directly, very closely with George Lucas and shit in the past. The whole reason we have Ahsoka Tano, which, again, this made me have to put some respect on George Lucas's name, because I ain't gonna lie, I'm not the biggest fan of George Lucas in a lot of the ways he made some of those early films, at least in the script writing, because a lot of that shit was really bad as far as the script dynamic. It was very boring and really badly paced, so much so that some of the actors talked about how bad those scripts were. Those actors being Harrison Ford, Han Solo, and Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker, they all talked about how bad those scripts were. And a lot of the bullying that that Hayden Christensen got was due to the factor of this nigga Lucas's scripts were really fucking horrible. But all that aside, I put respect to this name when I realized he took a lot of close inspiration in creating Ahsoka Tano with Filoni for the Clone Wars. I'm like, amazing. So I don't know. I find it, Star Wars is this very complicated, difficult bag that is going to be very difficult for Filoni to navigate, even though he's had success in it, just due to the factor of he's going to have to alienate a particular side of the fan base. Because I do think we're at a point with Star Wars where there is like two sides of a coin. You have a lot of the original fans, a lot of the older fans that were around to either see the original trilogy as children, or they grew up like in that weird in between era before the prequels, or maybe they were adults during the prequels and they didn't really think too highly of the prequels or anything after the fact. And then you have the new generation of fans that are maybe around our ages or a little bit younger than us, that our first introduction to Star Wars was more than likely the prequels or the Clone Wars, because the Clone Wars dropped on Cartoon Network and then the prequels were just out at the time we would have been going to the movies. And people that are in that side of things are a lot more for the characters that Filoni brought forth. Again, we're about to get a new show featuring Darth Maul, who was brought to life by Filoni. And when I say brought to life, I don't mean created. I mean, he was giving a heartbeat, because Darth Maul in the original, in the Phantom Menace, had no kind of personality, no kind of soul. I don't even think that nigga spoke a single line. I think he may have had like 3 lines in that film from what I remember. But we cut to the Clone Wars, and this nigga is a fucking fiend and a mastermind and intelligent and not a puppet. Although he lives in fear of Palpatine because, you know, it's Palpatine. I get it. He still is a fucking mastermind. And you know who helped to bring that to life? Dave Filoni. So I don't know. This is very interesting, and I really do hope that Filoni can find a way to do what he wants to do with this. And in regards to what you talked about in regards to the future, my big thing that I would do going forward is I would want to have them focus on either the High Republic or the Old Republic eras, so that way we get to see plenty of the space wizard shit. Because if we're keeping it a buck, yes, there are Star Wars fans that are fans of a lot of the espionage where you're looking at stuff like Rogue One. Yes, there are people that are fans of some of the space battles. But if we're keeping it a thou, while most people love Star Wars for the Jedi and the Sith conflict and the lore that's expansive that comes with that. So if you move to the Old Republic or the High Republic era, in which Jedi are at their peak, you're going to have so much that you can work with. And you're going to have so many different characters you can work with. And also, the first thing I would do if I'm Filoni is fix the mistake Disney made when they first acquired Star Wars and make all those fucking books canon again. Or
make Legends canon. Make Legends canon.
Or
make Legends canon.
Start rolling out more content that's within the Legends verse that can expand on that lore again. Start rebooting some of those series, some of those novels, and start getting some of that stuff back out there, so that we can flesh out this universe more. We can play around with this stuff. Because now that we have an official Star Wars timeline they dropped not too long ago, and I'll look that up here in a second if I can. We have an official timeline. We can start playing around with that timeline. Just stay very fucking far away from the Skywalker era. I don't want to hear the name Skywalker for the next 20 fucking years of my life if I can help it in regards to the Star Wars project. Either go to the distant future with Grogu and let him be the catalyst for leading into a new era of Star Wars, because now you can go forward like 200 years when he's an adult, or go back in time and play around with the High Republic and the Old Republic era. Because every time we've seen a hint of that, we've seen cool shit. When we went back and saw it with the Acolyte, we saw cool hints of things to come with fucking Plagueis being around. When we went into it with the Fallen Order with Cal Kestis, we got to see all kinds of cool ass fucking shit in regards to like a pocket dimension that was created during the High Republic era. So that's just stuff you can play around with there. But yeah, Jay, what are your thoughts? And after you go, I'm gonna try to get some of these comments here because we got a shit ton.
I'm still stuck on the feminist thing. It's super frustrating because I know the type of people like Star Wars theory that are probably saying some crazy shit like that. But again, I just looked it up. George Lucas literally considers like Dave Filoni like a Padawan. Like that's like his son basically that passed on this legacy of like Star Wars. And again, you don't have to like George Lucas. I'm not saying he was perfect. And I think a comment said like not calling it like George Lucas is Star Wars. There's just so many people that were involved that make this good. Some people's favorite content has nothing to do with George Lucas at all besides like Ahsoka Tano there, right? So it's how's where I can really put it. I just find it really odd because like again, I don't know what Star Wars fans are looking for because like, oh wow, I have women in my story. Well, you know what's also weird in this story that we have fucking people with like laser swords. Like none of this is natural, but it's just like you're shocked that you see a woman in here. It goes back to the whole like Assassin's Creed thing. I was like, I don't want my samurai to be black. It's just like, but like we're talking about something, you know what I mean? Like it's just, I feel like it's stupid. in my opinion. So
Yeah, you made a point there that somebody in the comment section also brought up. I think it was action packed. There's just so many comments in between the last time I saw it, so I don't know if I can scroll back to find it. But he was discussing something that I've talked about a lot to exhaustion. And again, I'm so glad that I have vindication in this, because I thought I was weird in saying that Star Wars was made generational after George Lucas is running it. Now, in saying that, I'm not saying that the original trilogy of the prequels were not great and did not revolutionize the movie industry, especially in the original trilogy in regards to a lot of the special effects that were done there that had not been done before. But gang, when I'm looking at the Clone Wars, when I'm looking at games like The Force Unleashed, I'm looking at KOTOR, I'm looking at SWTOR, I'm looking at the expanded comics, I'm looking at the novelization, were all things made by other people that were just fans of the world that George Lucas made. And I will say this about George Lucas. George Lucas is an amazing macro writer. And what I mean by that is, and I consider myself more along those lines as well, and I'm working on fixing some of my flaws in that when it comes to writing, is that macro writers do an amazing job at world construction and general oversight. I think, hell, George Lucas and Stan Lee are amazing at this. They can build out genius concepts, genius ideas, and genius initial ways for people to go about things. But in regards to that character development that makes people tick, he's not the greatest at it. Because all his ideas for Star Wars were so grand. Like when you hear about the original ideas for the midichlorians and the fact that they were going to be tiny people that live within your bloodstreams, I'm like, okay, we're doing too much here. We're going too far. And again, it's something that me as a writer, I'm working on myself because I love character writing, but I understand what my strengths and my weaknesses are. And I feel like Lucas got to a point where Star Wars was so successful that he felt like he never needed to improve any further in that. Because I can't say anything he's worked on after that. Like, I just don't see. I see a lot of people like explaining the lore for him, or doing the Stan Lee thing of like taking credit for something later on that was fleshed out after you. And because you are the godfather of it, nobody questions you on it. Nobody checks you on it because you're the progenitor. Which again, I get. I think you've earned that right, I guess, in regards to you creating this thing that's lasted over 20 plus years. But yeah, all the greatest things about Star Wars came after George Lucas, if we're keeping it at that. Wow. All the things that I remember, all the things that will last if ever last the test of time. Because I ain't gonna hold you. If you try to make niggas who are not Star Wars fans sit down and watch the original trilogy, they will not make it through. I love Star Wars. I adore Star Wars. Cannot make it through the original trilogy for real without falling the fuck asleep. Only reason I can make it through the prequel series is because of the fucking the action scenes. And
yeah, besides Revenge of the Sith, the third one, like, yeah, those are snooze. I mean, Attack of the Clones, like, I mean, cool. I'm there for Padme. That's about it.
Attack of the Clones was cool because we got to see Obi-Wan do something. Like Obi-Wan got shit to do, and we got to see him go to.
That's true. But you know, I will argue the prequel movies are only better now because we've watched Clone Wars. You know those references. You know what they've done in between, so it makes those things better. Yeah.
And to Mr. Jeff's point, world building is a superpower. And I agree. So world building is like, I'm not trying, when I bring up the macro writing idea, I don't want to, I'm not trying to minimize what Lucas does. Again, I consider myself that being like a thing that I'm lean more so in the strengths of, because it's building a world and a concept from scratch is incredibly difficult. But I feel like that's where you need to have a team. That's why whenever you see like manga, right? I think some of the best manga of all time come from the factor of these mangaka have other people around them that help influence their stories. When you look at Akira Toriyama, right? I don't know if a lot of people know this. When Akira Toriyama was like initially building out Dragon Ball, he was sitting in his kitchen with him, I think his editor and his wife. And they were pitching ideas back and forth for Dragon Ball. And his wife was the one that was giving him a lot of ideas in regards to how in the direction to take Dragon Ball in. Now, if it was just him locked in the room with nobody else's input, Dragon Ball could have been something completely different and not have been nowhere near as popular. When you're a creative, you need to be able to bounce your ideas off of other people so you can see what your flaws are. Because again, I can tell you as a writer and a creative, you get really attached to everything and it's hard to leave anything on the cutting room floor because you want to put every idea you have in this, because in your mind, every idea you put out is fucking gold. You have to have other perspectives to understand, oh, that was probably an idea that was either dumb or one that won't fit in what I'm trying to do overall. So let me dial this back some or trim some fat off. But yeah, man, that's things in that world again. Great world builder, great macro writer, but at the end of the day, I think there's a lot of stuff there that other people can improve on, which is why I'm so glad that Filoni is a part of this. And somebody else made the point earlier in the comment section. I'm really glad that they have a co-president because you have somebody who is leading creative in Filoni, and you have somebody that's leading financial in Brennan. Where if Filoni's like, hey, I want to do this great space battle that's going to involve Darth Revan, where they're doing the Mandalorian War and they're fighting all the. Okay, cool. Can we make this feasibly make sense in the budget that we're given by Bob Iger? Can we make this make sense with the teams we're bringing in? Like, can we make this financially make sense? She says, sure, we'll make it done. It happens. Or she says, hey, that's a little bit more expensive in regards to that happening. Let's go this route. Like, it's that team dynamic that I think will make Star Wars great going forward. Because I think that was the issue with Kathleen Kennedy. She was only leaning on the side of financials and was not really informed on the universe in itself or the creative lens of things. Because she would just pick. I felt like she picked writers and directors based off of the hype or based off of reputation versus on the work that they put out beforehand, and if their work and their style matched the characters. And I think like a perfect example of that not working or being really fucking bad is getting Taika Waititi to direct Thor films. Thor being this person who is in this like really dark storyline in regards to most of his stories when you're looking at Ragnarok or stuff involving Gore the God Butcher, and then you have Taika Waititi that's making that a fucking comedy half the time. But Gore is literally called the God Butcher. And we have a scene or we have a moment in time where there's this room full of gods that are trying to figure out how to stop him, and we're having this like side joke of this nigga Thor being butt-ass naked fighting everybody. That could have been a scene where like they were just purely petrified because Gore's coming for him. That like if you would have had fucking, we'll say Christopher Nolan for lack of a better term. I can't think of another director right now. Or even Ryan Coogler, I feel like would have done that shit right. That understands tonality and understands the source material. You could have had some crazy shit. And y'all brought up Bitterroot. Bitterroot's another one where I'm like, I hope it gets greenlit, because I know that they just greenlit Exquisite Corpses for like a show or a film, but I would love to see Bitterroot brought into the big fold in regards to getting a show. Honestly, an animated series would be fucking fire for Bitterroot. If y'all haven't read Bitterroot, matter of fact, I got it. Shit. Damn it. Bitterroot, dope comic. I got the first issue signed by the writers at Dragon Con this past year. About a first issue of it. Amazing book. Highly recommend it if you guys want more Black-centric stories, especially stories that kind of remind you a little bit of Sinners from a aesthetic standpoint, I guess. But yeah, you have any other thoughts on this, Jordan? I know I've ranted on the Star Wars shit for a minute now.
No, you're good. I think you're right. I think Kathy had a lot on her plate. Again, I think about this a lot, even at my own job as a director, or as like think about my boss as a director. He has to both oversee the ideas that we have to do and approve it, but also do all the financial administrative side. So it's just really hard to do both. So like, I can't imagine what she had to go through and like trying to make sure financially all this makes sense, but fall into the hype, and maybe she didn't have time to read. There's so many things that go into it, but hopefully I think she's going to like more of her producing stuff that she's done most of her life or most of her career. So hopefully she does something that gives her excitement, and I'm just excited about Dave and where he takes this, because again, like this is no small thing. Like this is the equivalent. He has the same position as Kevin Feige does at Marvel Studios. Like this is that level of like creative freedom. So like I really want him to go crazy.
It's
truly, as long as the budget's there.
It's gonna be dope to see Feige, who's someone who's a fan of Marvel, James Gunn, who's a fan of comic books for DC, and then Filoni, who's a fan of Star Wars stuff, all have that stuff in regards to them being fans of their main thing, or their main franchise, that their IPs that they're in charge of, and putting projects out there. So I'm waiting to see more in regards to plans and what he wants to take this going forward. But I have a really big intuition that's going to start with the Ahsoka season, because I've heard rumors about a big reveal or a big character making an appearance in there, whether that be Cal Kestis, whether that be Starkiller, I don't know who, but there's going to be some kind of a big appearance in the Ahsoka show that I think is going to start to kickstart everything going forward. Mostly due to the fact that that's Filoni's baby, being Ahsoka Tano. So I see that happening. But before we get ready to close out here, I do want to take a chance to plug my own stuff. And shout out to Action Pack FTW. Yes, brother, I will do more to to plug Reaper. I do need to add it to the overlay here. But for anyone that is not aware, I wrote my own comic book. Shit, I just keep having all my books off the shelf. This is Reaper. Oh shit, hold on. Let me transition this out again. This is Reaper, issue number 1. Reaper is a book that I put a lot of time and effort into making. Hell, I even fucking made merch just to help me promote the shit in videos because marketing is not a great tool of mine. I make the content, not really good at marketing the content outside of just saying shit on the camera and put it out there for y'all. But Reaper is a book that, if you are familiar with little anime Bleach, if you're familiar with the show Supernatural, is going to be a similar tone of just a fusion of both of those kind of put together. It is a story that I had a lot of love and passion put into, and it allows me to play around with my love for Gothic themes when I'm looking and the idea of what God is or how God should be and things of that nature, even the devil as an individual. I had a lot of inspiration from a show like Lucifer in regards to like the devil being such a humanized person. So I'm playing around with that. Issue 1 now is out. If you guys go to echelongraphicnovels.com, you'll be able to get a digital copy for like $5 and the physicals are like $7.99. And if you guys want to help support the production of the second issue, which is currently under production now, you guys can support the Kickstarter that I have. In the link below, I think I have the link to the Kickstarter in the first issue if you guys want to go check that out as well. But got to do my due diligence, like my man said, and promote my stuff. Thank you guys so much. Mr. Ali Bulkin says, marketed within the AFDB Creatives Initiative. They have billions just for that. Can you? What is the AFDB initiative? Oh, I'm out of the loop, I guess, in regards to what that is. Yeah, just let me know in the comments in a second here. But Jay, you have anything you want to promote or plug before we get ready to start to close out?
No, man. I just follow and stay into my new stuff. You know, you got a Kickstarter too, trying to get that second issue out. So, just support my boy. And I assume that if you're here, that you already do. So, just appreciate y'all being here on our stream. So.
And I will, the Black African Development Bank. I don't even know how I would get in contact with them for that. Where McDuffie overlooked and killed the OG milestone. Let's not make that mistake again. Hey, if you have resources for me like that, let me know, man. Put them in the comments here, or you just shoot me a DM on any of the platforms I'm on, because all my socials are in the link below as well. So I've heard of that before. Not sure how to get in contact with anybody that is really involved in that, but I would love to, not breathe past any potential opportunities. But in regards to people or things that I have going on or things that can help you guys, because I know that there's a few people in here that I saw that talked about wanting to possibly create their own comic book or their own story as a whole. I do want to take a chance to also plug my comic book company, Echelon Graphic Novels. Although we do put out our own stories like any other comic company would, we are also very invested in helping up and coming artists and story creators create their own books. If you have an idea or a concept you want to make into a comic book, maybe you're not that advanced or understanding how comic book script writing goes, we can assist with that. We can either do it for you or we can show you how to do it. If you're not sure how to get in contact with certain artists that are quality artists like mine or other ones we have on the staff, we can connect you with great interior artists, great colorists, great cover artists. People that are very much so professional, people that have worked for the likes of Marvel, DC, Dark Horse, Image, Ignition Print. Like, we have people that have worked on some heavy shit, and they get paid as such. We do not do the slave labor that you see a lot of other artists like a Marcel Dupree do online, where he goes to get Italian or Indian work for pennies on a dollar. No, the artists that we work with are very much so professionals and get paid the rates that they ask for. So again, if you guys have any things regarding any concerns regarding that, so again, if you want to make your own story, bring your own story to life, you can work with us to get that done. We have a million examples of myself as well as other people that are currently working with us and have worked with us in the past to get things done, from companies to individuals. We make it work with you. So if that's the thing that you want to get into, again, just reach out to Echelon you just go to the website at echelongraphicnovels.com, and I think we should have the contact info there of how to start that process, and we'll get a consultation going and all that other stuff in regards to helping you create your own comic book. And if you want to publish it underneath this, you can. If you're not, you can make your book, take your book wherever you want to take it to, off to pitch it to Marvel, DC, whatever you want to do with it, or even just sell it independent. It's up to you. But we just help you create stuff and help you make connections within the industry as far as the artists that can help you bring your story to life. That's where we're in the business of bringing your stories to life and making your dreams come true. Because I can definitely attest to the fact that this is definitely my dream coming true. And I can't wait for anybody that read issue 1 to read issue 2, because I feel like I grew significantly as a writer from issue 1 to issue 2, and I have some dope shit coming in issue 2. Outside of me and other things you guys can go support, please do. Yeah, we do consultations as well. We do an initial consultation before anything else to make sure that you understand everything you're getting into and everything that you would ask of us before you proceed with anything else. So we do an initial free consultation at that. The consultations are free initially. But yeah, as far as other stuff, go check out other platforms. My good friend, Dr. K. Knight, somebody that you guys will see with me this Sunday. Again, every Sunday at, I think, 9 p.m. Eastern, we do pull list therapy, where we go over our pull list from that week and any other just, news or comics or things we have going on that we are fans of or we're not fans of. First 2 episodes that we did were discussing Age of Revelation, how that was some buns, and then just this past Sunday we promoted and talked about the Witchblade series that we both just love with a passion. I want to try to get some more black creative books. I probably want to do a video and discuss some stuff either regarding Bitterroot or Roots of Madness, or just anything Stephanie Williams has been putting out, because Stephanie Williams has been a fucking GOAT this past year up until this point. So yeah, pull list therapy is this Sunday, but please go check out my girl, Dr. K. Knight. She has a great channel. My friend JP Namumbra as well is another creator that I've showcased on the channel here beforehand. Just again, I'm working on bringing more dope comic book creators. I want to spread the love and get more people on the channel that you guys can see and have, just a lot more of a wide ranging of thought, because I do understand that my thoughts and my opinions are not for everybody, and people aren't going to like everything I have to say in regards to my thoughts and opinions on certain titles, books, or companies. So, having a diverse thought and diverse opinion is I think is just good for the space as a whole. So, links for those people will be in either the comment section here, or at bare minimum, you can go find Kaori stuff on YouTube by either just typing in Dr. Kaori Knight or just go, her shit's like added in any of the streams that she's done with me up to this point as well. And then JP as well. You find stuff. You'll find all their stuff connected to me. And yeah, y'all. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to episode 36 of the Captain's Lounge. This is a very, very long episode. I think we're literally like an hour 40 in. We usually only go for like an hour, but this is great topics tonight. We didn't really have to look too hard for dope topics. So again, if you guys have any topics that you guys want us to cover, anything you guys feel like is noteworthy, please let us know in the comment section below, or again, on any of my social media platform that you can find in the description below. Just, shoot me a DM or drop a post or comment under something. Let me know what you want to look at, or send me a link or make it completely easy for you guys. Really fucking easy. In the description below, you will find a link to my Discord server. In my Discord server, it's a lot of dope, like-minded people that talk about their comics or their talents and everything like that in there. So if you guys want to, send a link to a video or a topic that you want us to cover, hop in a Discord, shoot it to me. Put it in the server, and I'll see it there easily because I'm on Discord like every day. As far as the next stream, again, this is the Captain's Lounge. The Captain's Lounge happens every single Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. If there's something that's happening to make sure that we don't do, or that makes it where we can't do the stream, then I'll let you guys know in the Discord server, and I'll try to put it up on the channel page as well. But every Tuesday and on Sundays, we do pull list therapy, which is comic stuff. And as far as the channel in itself, I have a lot of dope content coming for you guys. February, I know every Black History Month, I try to be very much so proactive with the type of content I put out. I try to promote Black conversation, Black projects. And for the first time in a long time, I think in a video I've talked about how I didn't really partake in a lot of Black pain films, or even just a lot of the popular Black films from the 90s. One, because I wasn't born at that point, and two, because I avoided a lot of those films because of the Black pain aspect. But I'm taking it upon myself to watch a lot of films that would either be considered Black pain films or just some popular films from the 90s that I never got around to watching because of whatever reason. And I'll be reacting to those movies and also reviewing those movies and giving my thoughts on how important they seem to be at that point in time, and how important they were on cinema as a whole. First one you'll see beginning of February will be Boys in the Hood, that me and my boy JP here did. We did our whole reaction and review on that one. And then the next one you'll see will more likely be The Wood, that I did with my guy Cyber Dad, Nick Perry, which was I had a great time watching The Wood. The Wood is probably one of my more favorite coming of age tales ever now after watching that film. I really enjoyed that movie. And I think the last two will probably be Menace to Society, and I'm probably going to do Boomerang for the last one. I'm trying to split it up in regards to, some of the more depressing stuff and some of the more comedies, or some of the stuff that is uplifting within, us as the people. And yeah, and I'll try to, again, trying to diversify the content. You'll see a lot more commentary content coming from me soon. And we're working on more video essay content, but it's just really tough with all the stuff that I'm doing with the comic, working with the Players Alliance, and then these streams as well. Video essay content is a little bit tough in regards to doing all the research and the script writing that I was doing beforehand. But there is videos that I am working on that will be out at some point. A big documentary, honestly, that me and Jordan's been helping me on as far as research that will get out at some point soon, revolving Cartoon Network and their history. So again, this year is going to be a very big year for the captain for the dojo. And yeah, man. And you guys can expect a Blade video from me because there is a narrative around there about Blade saving Marvel and saving the MCU that is not as accurate as a lot of people think. So I'm going to be recording a video on that very soon that you guys can get from me within the next 2 weeks. That will be kind of breaking down why Blade didn't necessarily save Marvel or save the MCU. So if y'all want to know more about that, if y'all don't want to research it before then, just wait for the video. Tune in. And if you want to see, you want to guarantee to see that video as soon as it drops, do me a favor. Like this video, because if you made it this far into the stream, you obviously liked it. So do me a favor, like this so that it benefits the channel and getting it to as many people as possible that may enjoy it and help me grow as a creator. And subscribe to the channel and make sure you have all the notifications checked on so that you get every video that I drop and not just what YouTube deems worthy to show you guys. So help a brother out with the free ski. This was the follow, the like, gonna cost you a thing. Just a couple seconds. And yeah, y'all, thank y'all so much for tuning in to another episode of the Captain's Lounge, episode 36. We'll see you guys next Tuesday, 8 p.m. sharp for episode 37 of the Captain's Lounge. This has been my boy JP, Captain Diesel. And y'all remember, forever and always,
You're now watching the captain.
y'all be good people. Peace out.